When you go to something like NAMM, when I go to NAMM, I feel like I'm there to kind of like goof off, hang out with friends. Like NAMM is not for me because I'm not a dealer. When you go to NAMM, what do you do at NAMM day to day? And is it that valuable for you to go in NAMM? Does it really make a difference? Or do you even go in NAMM?
Yeah,
I've seen you at NAMM a couple times. Yeah.
I don't think apart from COVID, I think that's the only NAMMs I've missed in maybe the last 25 years or so. So NAMM, historically, do you remember that world where there wasn't an internet? NAMM was how you found out about everything that was going to be new at the beginning of the year. So that was the timing. You get through Christmas, you have your sort of seasonal peak, you're a bit knackered, you go to California, it's nice and sunny, and your bank balance has got loads of dough in it because you've just had Christmas, and so all the suppliers are going, let me show you what's new, and it was great. And you'd see your friends, and there'd be some parties in the evening, and the weather was nicer than the UK. Anyway. And then the internet came along, and you'd go to NAMM and you'd go, oh yeah, you told me about that. I saw that on the internet 3 weeks ago. You sent me an email about that too. I've already ordered those. I've done that. Da, 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 da. And I think NAMM since then, NAMM, not the trade organization, I'm just talking about the show, I think has sort of gone, what actually is this for? So of course now it's much more consumer focused. So, if I go back 10 or 15 years, NAMM was 90% trade. And then if you knew someone who knew someone, maybe you could get a ticket. Now it's the other way. It feels like 90% consumers and 10% trade. So yeah, I'm not really sure. I think that the community aspect of NAMM is an angle now for them. I guess the issue is how important is that for the exhibitors? It's blooming expensive to exhibit and to go to NAMM, and if you're not going to write any orders because you've written them all anyway, what value do you put on just being able to go, oh, hi, haven't seen you since the last NAMM, and there is some value to that, but is it $1 million? Because that's what some of the stands are costing, the big ones.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know. I think it's super important that the industry has a voice like NAMM and has a reason to all get together once a year. But equally, if that's coming out of your marketing budget, it's got to be justifiable. So yeah, I don't know. We will. Are we going to NAMM next year, Tay?
Taylor says yes.
We're going. Yeah, I mean, it's easy for us, right? Because we're not exhibiting out there. So the cost of going is a few plane tickets I know with other brands that I work with, and certainly the bigger ones, the cost of exhibiting at NAMM is crazy, expensive. So,
but do you walk around, do you ever find something that you haven't seen and then go, oh, we should carry that in the store? And do you find those kinds of products, or less and less now that everything's online?
No. We still do. I couldn't believe,
everyone must suck up to you like crazy at NAMM, right? Because everyone wants you to buy their stuff. Taylor confirms, yes, we get the real answer out of Taylor.
So the dynamic of walking around NAMM has gone from being 15 years ago to basically, if you had a blue badge, it basically meant that you had the authority to spend your company's money buying stuff.
Yeah, right.
So obviously, saying, oh, hey, how are you? Like that. And then they do the thing, and then the eyes would go down to what's your name?
And they go, Lee.
So you go like, anyway. So that's what it used to be like. Now it's, obviously you've got such a concentration of guitar players there, and then inevitably they're all familiar with the YouTube channel. And so, of course, they all want to, tell you that, this is my favorite video you did like that, can I get a selfie like that, which is all great and amazing. Yeah. And then you realize that it's just taken you half an hour to walk from here to there.
You're not even in the building yet.
Yeah, and then you're sort of going like, wow, I commercially need to justify being here, and to do that I need to try and see 50 or 100 booths like that, and I need to do some deals and order some stuff, and if it's taken me half an hour to go from one booth to the next, I'm not going to do it. So I don't know that we've really resolved. I'm going to take the Slipknot there, I'm going to put a mask on. I don't know. I think last year or the year before last, I was looking at the NAMM exhibitor list, and it's on a great big Excel spreadsheet, and it had 3,500 lines on it. And it made me just think to myself, wow, there's 3,500 companies making a living out of the music industry that have decided
so they say, or whatever.
But it's like some of these companies are selling the screws that hold the scratch plate,
right.
and some of them are selling insurance, and some of them are selling tuition. It's not all guitar manufacturers. But it did make me think, it's a big old business like that, and I really have to try and make the effort to sort of get round and see. And yeah, there's always a new pedal builder or amp builder or guitar builder or someone that's designed a funky strap or something like that. You go, oh, you know what? That was cool. And I've never seen it before, so if it wasn't for the show, you may never see that. I think the harder one to justify is, why would you go and see Fender at the NAMM show? And yet the crazy thing is, they're the guys paying the most money.
They have the biggest booth there. Yeah.
So it's like, for in the UK, Anderton's has literally a dedicated Fender account manager who just looks after Anderton's. So we see him like every other day. We know everything about everything. What else is there for you to tell me? So that's I do sympathize with the Fender decision. Should we be there? Should we not be there? How big should we be there? And then of course, it's a little bit like a house of cards. You take Fender out, you take Gibson out, you take Yamaha out. All of a sudden, everyone's going, well, if they're not going to be there, why do I need to be there? And that's the challenge for NAMM. It's like got to come up with a compelling reason to be there. I don't know. I've never been on the board of NAMM, so I'm not sure what conversations are going around, but I think everything should be like, why Los Angeles? Why January? Why the format that it is? I think that potentially I think it would be nice to see that changed up from time to time. It would certainly make it easier for us if it was an East Coast event rather than a West Coast event. It's a long flight, a massive time difference for a 3 or 4 day event.
But some selfies also.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've never come back from NAMM going, oh God, I hated that. I never want to go again.
Yeah.
I've come back from NAMM going, I'm absolutely knackered and I'm not sure what value we got out of that.